The next question has to do with simplifying. Okay, we actually have 3 examples, so we'll go through all 3 just so we get multiple examples as we go through it. This is a question of multiplication. Think of it like A times B. Okay, and A times B would just be the value of AB. Now, the only trick to this is we do have multiple terms. Okay, so we have a coefficient. In fact, we have 2 coefficients, -4 and 3. And those are kind of our like terms, so we can multiply those together to get a more simplified version or answer. We do have base R. It has exponents, so we'll have to use our exponent rules when multiplying to simplify. We have 1s, so because there's no other base s in the second term, there's nothing to simplify it with. That's going to stay the same. And then we do have base t, so again, we'll use exponent rules to solve that. So the very first one is -4 times -3. Well, -4 times -3 is going to give us +12. So we'll start with that. That's the first one we've kind of checked off the list. The second one here is r squared multiplied by r to the -1. To simplify exponents, when multiplying, you actually just add the powers. So in this case, 2 plus -1 or 2 minus 1 gives us just the value of 1. So we're left with r1 in this case. And in that case, we don't actually have to write the exponent of 1. We'll just write r. S is the only value, so we're going to write it in as is with no changes because there's nothing to change it with. And t, same thing with exponent rules. When there's nothing listed, since it's t times t to the power 4, there's technically a 1. We add them together and we get t to the power of 5. So the simplified version is 12r s cubed 5 to the power of t. With that being said, that's a multiplication question. In a division question, same idea, but instead of adding our powers together, we actually subtract like terms. So the first thing we're going to do is, again, we'll divide the coefficients. Then we have x values, so we'll subtract their exponents. Y values, we'll subtract their exponents. And z base, we'll subtract their exponents. So the very first one, 42 divide -6, will actually give us -7. X to the power of 7 divided by x to the power of 4. We subtract these 2 exponents, so we end up with x to the power of 3. Y is the next term. In this case, we have y to the power of 4 over y, which means there's technically 1 there, which is going to give us y to the power of 3 also. And then finally, this one is a little trickier. Z divided by z. If you subtract the exponents, you actually get z to the power of 0. And any value divided by itself is actually the value of 1. So I could write times 1, but there's really no reason, because when we write times 1, it doesn't make any changes. So we can actually leave z as being out of the simplified version of this. Okay? And finally, the very last one, we have 2 binomials. Okay? So we have to use binomial distribution. So we take the first term, sometimes known as FOIL, first, outside, inside, last. Maybe I'll color code that just so it makes a little bit more sense. So the first terms are our x's. So we're going to multiply x by x. That's going to give us x squared. Okay, so we'll write that in here. Our outside terms happen to be x and -7. So x times -7 gives us -7x. So we're going to minus 7x. Our inside terms are 3 and x. Same concept. X times +3. That's going to give us +3x. And finally, our last terms is 3 times -7 will give us -21. We do have to simplify. There are 2 like terms in the middle, so we can end up with x. When we add these together, we add their coefficients, so this becomes -4x minus 21. So we've simplified all 3 of those using 3 different methods of simplification.